Hello, and welcome back to Episode 3 of Let's Get Real, sis. My name is Amaris.
And my name is Adrianna.
And I want to thank you, we want to thank you for tuning in to our podcast in general. If you haven't, check out our previous 2 episodes. One is super funny, one is a little bit serious, but regardless, you never know what you're going to get each episode. So pause this video, check those out. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, okay, so you can know every time we upload a video because it's going to come up to your subscribe list. Even better yet, you can hit the little bell so you can get notifications so you never miss an episode. Also, while you're pressing all these buttons, be sure to log onto your Instagram account. It's already on your phone. Follow our podcast page at Let's Get Real Sis and our individual Instagrams at Glam by Am and Adrianna Manina. Everything will be listed down in the description box below. Whew.
That was a lot. Good job.
All right, you all. So today we are going to talk about a more serious topic. But before we jump in, she don't know that I'm about to go off on this. Look how cute we look. Look at us matching. Do we look like sisters or at least cousins? We got our buns, okay? We got our red lipstick, our black. I think we look good.
We do, sis. I think we look bomb.
You know, we can't just go into a deep topic and not mention like this black girl magic, this melanin, this caramel and honey skin popping up in here. Hello?
That melanin magic, brown skin popping.
All right. So we're gonna get serious, okay? Well, we'll see how it goes. Today we are going to be talking about how to get over a breakup. I'm gonna just start us off. So if you watched episode 1, I talked a little bit about my last relationship. Not going to dig in too deep about the relationship part, at least not in this video, but going to talk about some ways to get over a breakup. Just a little bit of a background story. I was in a relationship for 5 years. I was engaged and broke up July of 2020. And how many months has that been? Quick math.
I think last time you counted down, it was like 9 months.
July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Where are we in? April? Going on 10 months. Yeah. It maybe just hit 10 months because it was like beginning of July. So, wow, time flies.
It does.
Going on a year of, a breakup out of a long relationship. And, I think we all go through breakups.
Oh, yeah.
So breakups aren't easy no matter if you've been together, if it's your high school sweetheart, if it's your first love, or, a situation like me where I was about to get married. I was going to walk down the aisle in 8 weeks and then had a breakup. Again, not going to dive into the reasons or the whys and this and that, but going to talk about how I got over it. And, if you've done any of these things before, let me know, or tips that you have too. So the first thing I did was separate myself. Okay? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times us as women, especially, look, we're emotional beings, whether we like to admit it or not. And a lot of times, I think if we're sitting in situations, we start to second guess and what if?
Am I doing the right thing?
Am I doing the right thing? Let me give a situation another chance. And just as a disclaimer, I gave plenty of chances. So it was time to go. So knowing when it's time to go is really important.
Oh, yeah. That's a hard thing to acknowledge.
Yeah. I think that's with any serious issue in life. You take the first step when you acknowledge, okay? Know what happened, feel those feelings, and separate yourself. So I moved out. I moved back into my parents' house, keeping it 100% real. I was able to get an apartment. I was actually apartment hunting. And I was apartment hunting like every weekend for a while, and I actually fell in love with a couple of places. But for me personally, I didn't want to make a decision out of emotion when it came to where I wanted to live. So I decided to move back into my parents' house, if you have to move back to your parents' house for financial reasons, cool. But I chose to go back for peace. My parents have a wonderful, peaceful home. I grew up in a very loving home, very loving Christian parents, and just being in that haven of peace was what I needed for my own mental stability. And to go back to my room, it was something about it felt grounding.
Yeah.
It felt really grounding, and I feel that I needed that at that moment.
Being surrounded by people that love and support you, that's
Facts.
really important too.
So important. And I think if I were to be living by myself, who knows how I would have isolated myself. And isolation is important, but isolation can also be dangerous when you're dealing with things because, and what's the saying? An idle mind is the devil's playground.
Never heard of, but I mean, teach me something, you know.
I know I've heard that saying before, but didn't want to just be alone, sulking in misery, which leads me to thing number 2, surrounding myself with family and friends. So obviously, I moved back. I have my family, but surrounding myself with friends. I have very, very close friends. And one of my close friends introduced me to other circles that she has, and those women are amazing, like good quality people, not just girls just for the sake of hanging out with girls, quality business women, grounded women, women of faith, and just being surrounded by them. It was right on time. I call them my angels, and they know this. I went out to eat with them on the day that was going to be my wedding day. And they didn't know that. And I was like, that was God's perfect timing. On the day that was going to be my wedding day, I get invited to brunch with them. Mm-hmm. And they just kept speaking life into me. And it was just such a good time. So the point I'm making, being surrounded by love, wherever you get that love, well, not wherever you get that love, good quality love from good quality people, right. So important. Anything to add to at least those 2 points? Because I can keep going.
No, keep going. Especially, I mean, it's been a while since I went through a breakup. And, I was young. And so, your first few heartbreaks, those are very devastating.
My God, yeah. It hurts more when you're younger.
With me, I'm more of an isolate person. I'm more of a, let's go party, hang out. Let me get my mind off of this. And then when I do isolate, I'm in my bed watching Pretty Woman or something, eating chocolate and ice cream. That's the stereotypical breakup.
Days
remedy.
like that are needed sometimes, where you can feel your feelings. One of my closest friends brought up a point. Sometimes it's important to feel those feelings so you remember
what it felt like,
so you know not to get to that point again, and not to allow anyone to get you to that point again. And if an ex tries to reconnect with you, you can remember how they made you feel at your lowest, so you can make the decision if you're going to try that again or not. Every situation is different. Not saying some relationships aren't rekindleable, but this specific one I'm talking about isn't.
But I also think it's important not to, if you are healing, not to harbor that and take it in the next step with you.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next point. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. That was so important. That was, if not one of the biggest pieces. I had to really let go and make the choice within myself to forgive the wrongdoings that happened to me. And I also had to look back and reflect on parts that I played in the relationship and choose to forgive myself and offer an apology for things that I might have done wrong that could have been hurtful to the other person. So just the all around forgiveness. There was a lot of, I feel like I discovered so much about myself. And it's like, you think you get to an age, like I'm 32, where it's like, I know myself and I'm confident in myself, but man, you could still learn so much.
Yes.
I did a lot of reading, a lot of praying. I thought I knew about love languages. And I think I did have a pretty good knowledge, but really deep diving and learning that I knew what my love language was, but I didn't show love in my love language in a good way, because I knew what I wanted to receive, like words of affirmation, but I wasn't the best giver of words of affirmation. I knew that other people have other love languages, and I didn't know how to love my partner in his love language. So really looking back and assessing what you did as well is important, so you don't, like you said, take it into the next relationship. You don't want to take bitterness, hatred. You don't want to take just not knowing things about yourself or what you did wrong, so you don't repeat those mistakes. So that was all super important. And I guess on a lighter note, something that I did, I got a lot of hobbies. I got so many hobbies.
But that's good though, because they're not bad hobbies. They're like actually positive hobbies.
Yes, keeping yourself busy. Oh my, this podcast. Hello, this is our wonderful passion project here. Taking a lot of yoga, which, girl, I'm getting flexible. Let me tell you, I'm out here getting flexible in yoga. Shout out to my yoga teacher. Obviously, my brother always teases me. He's like, "You're always at brunch. Going to brunch? Is that a hobby?"
I do see you at brunch a lot. I think that is a very good hobby. It's a fun hobby.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Going out to eat, going to brunch. I've been saying yes to trips. A lot of trips have presented themselves, and I've been just going. We hung out with college friends in Vegas, and I'm going to California soon, and going to Mexico soon, and just allowing myself to be surrounded by a good time versus just sitting and dwelling. Reading, again, I picked up a lot of reading. I mean, I don't know if this is a okay hobby. It's not hurting anybody. I love binge watching on Netflix.
And nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I even got my dad, me and him are binge watching The Crown right now. Before I came over, my dad was like, "Let's turn on The Crown." But when we sit down and watch it, it'd be for 4 hours. And I was like, "No, Dad, I got to film the podcast. We'll have to do it later tonight."
I'm cutting to daddy and daughter time.
We binge watched for 5 hours the other day. It's all good. That's all we do. So, but just finding those little fun things is just wonderful.
Now, Amaris, I have a question for the women out there who are actually going through the process of the breaking up, like maybe like the beginning process, that dark time where they don't see the light and they don't feel like they ever are going to feel like themselves again. Do you have any advice for them? Like,
yeah, that can be really tough. I would say, well, before I give my list of reasons, I want to say first about myself that even though I felt in a dark place, I didn't allow myself to fall where I know I could have fell. Just a quick testimony. Back in 2018, I overcame depression, and I told myself I'm never going back to that point. So before I felt myself slipping, I personally refused to, and that's why I kept busy and surrounded myself with love on purpose. However, people do get to a super dark place in breakups. I mean, it's like a punch in the gut when you're seeing someone every day or often or living with them, like my case, and next thing you know, something happens and it's like your world falls down. I mean, I'm gonna come from what I would do as a woman of faith. The first thing I would be doing would be crying out to God, letting him know that this really hurts me. Why am I going through this? Bringing it all to God. That's literally what I would do. Probably cry a river, just talking to God. I would write things down, which I'm going to talk about that a little more later. Write down how you feel. Sometimes, I know it sounds like cliche, but sometimes writing down how you feel and as you see yourself grow and heal, you can see how far that you have come. And again, it's a physical sitting reminder that you can go back and read to remind yourself to not get to that place again. Confiding in somebody. Obviously, you could talk to God, but you know, it's good to have other relationships. Your mom, your auntie, your best friend. Confide in somebody. Have somebody there who really genuinely cares about you and let them know what's going on. You don't have to tell all the world your business, but sometimes having that one person can make all the difference. And if you don't have that person, therapy. I went to therapy. My counselor knew everything that was going on in the breakup, and we even tried couples therapy. So just to say, like, we gave it that try. Yeah. But yeah, therapy was a big help. Sometimes it takes a licensed professional to point out things that you may not see. And honestly, learning to love yourself again. I think in relationships, especially as women, we put the men before us, even if we don't realize. I say that loosely because, you know, I want to be careful with how I say that. I think there's a lot of times where even if you don't realize you're putting that person ahead of you, and sometimes you should be, yes, but things are a partnership. You can't forget yourself, okay? Because if you're not, I said this, I think, in episode 1. If you're not pouring into yourself, how are you going to give that love to somebody else? Yeah. And sometimes we pour and we forgive and we give chances and we build up and we're there for their business ideas and we're cleaning up behind them and we're listening to them, we're talking to them, we're doing everything. And it's like, what time did you have for you? Yeah. So you're literally dripping dry, the last that you have to give into someone else, and nothing's being come back into you. So I say all that to say, fall back in love with yourself. And that was definitely something that I had to do. And sometimes that comes with looking in the mirror and telling yourself that don't forget who you are, okay? You are beautiful. You are a child of God. Whatever affirmations that you need, and doing things that you like to do for yourself. And honestly, that helps more than you think. Good question. I feel like I answered that question for 5 minutes.
No, but it's good. It's good for other women out there to know, because they're like, a lot of women are going through the process and they don't know that, you know, they think that they're fighting and they're trying to make things right before it devastatingly ends, you know, and that's what they're trying to avoid to get to that point. But like, if you have that gut feeling and you have that instinct, you just have feeling in your heart that I can't do it anymore, I can't move further with this or fight any longer, like, it's gonna hurt for a while, and that is okay. Feel those emotions. That is part of the healing process, but it's okay to just walk away.
Yes. And you know, women were given that gift of intuition.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not lying to you. I mean, I know I struggle sometimes, or used to struggle with overthinking. However, we know in our heart of hearts when something is not right. And that's a feeling you can't shake off. You can shake off that overthinking. You know when you're tripping versus to when something is off with your energy, everything. And then that comes to just being honest with the situation. Like, look, this happened. Stop sugarcoating it. When someone does you wrong, of course you're going to forgive it. Depending on the situation, you may move past it with that person, but you need to be honest with yourself. Like, this happened to me. This hurts like hell. Do I want to continue feeling like this? And that's came to what I had to do, where I had to think about myself and my self-worth. Okay. Choose to put myself first and be like, no, I don't want to live like this. Life is short. We 32. Like, we gonna blink and be 82. Like, but life is short. Okay. I don't want to spend my whole life settling. Just to say that I have a man. No, that's not worth it to me. Like, my quality of life now is like, I'm so extremely blessed, and I'm at a space now where I can look back and be like, would I have been this happy? Would I have been going on these trips? Would I have these wonderful friendships? Would I be doing this? Like, would any of that be happening if I was sitting there knowing I'm getting played, sitting upset in my room, probably getting fat, eating? Diving into chocolate, even though those days are needed. Those days are needed, though.
But you're constantly evolving. No matter what, you're constantly evolving till the day you die. I've seen some 60, 70-year-olds literally skydiving and living their wildest dreams.
I'm not skydiving.
We're not skydiving. Let's get that straight. But I'm just saying, like, you never know. Each phase of your life is just it's a part of your life. It's a chapter of your book, you know, and you're writing that story.
And it's still going till the day you die.
I used to work with this man, and him and his wife, they were married for, I want to say 25 years. And I was like, man, what holds y'all relationship together? Like, you know, to make it last so long, like any insight? And the only thing he told me, and I took this to heart and I believe in it. He was like, you know, follow your heart, live your life, follow your dreams, do what you want to do. And even after, like, even when you look up down that path during your journey, you look up and that person is still by your side. That's how you know that person is right there, supposed to be with you. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. That means I kind of wanted to touch on the part where you say putting other people, your man and everybody, before yourself. That basically ties into it. Like, live your life. Pursue your dreams, your goals, your passions. Make sure you're mentally strong, emotionally strong, and healthy. And whoever's supposed to be right there by your side, right there with you, living life, doing life with you.
Right.
But yes, so just make sure that, you know, you're always just living for you, and everything else follow. Make sure you're whole. You know that Erykah Badu song, "Back a Lady." You go. Don't carry the baggage into your future, okay?
Facts.
Just live your life. Make sure you're strong and healthy mentally, emotionally, all wise. And I thought that was a good point, and I really enjoyed that point. I took it to heart following up until now. So
I think the last 2 points I want to hit on, and you know, there's tons of ways, and everybody's going to have their own process and their own timeline, which is one thing that I actually learned, which just came up in my head. You know, one thing my therapist taught me and brought up when we were both in couples therapy was like, you know, forgiveness doesn't always have a timeline, and healing doesn't always have a timeline.
Oh, yeah, no.
That grieving process, grieving isn't just with death of a person, death of relationships, that's a grieving process. And you can't tell someone how long it takes. Now, obviously, we can get concerned if it's taking like 10 years, 5 years, but
sometimes that happens, believe it or not.
You know, case by case basis, but long story short, you know, somebody may be looking at me and being like, 10 months and you're okay? Like, you know, or somebody may be like, 10 months, that's too long. So everybody's different.
Yeah.
That's one thing to keep in mind. One point I want to bring up, which is actually a fun point, I be taking myself on dates.
Ooh.
Yes. That, I think I actually brought that up.
You did. And
that's how much I like
it. Amazing.
That's how much I like it. Go take yourself on a date. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but I mean, it's a wonderful feeling to dress up for yourself. I mean, how often do you do that? Dress up for yourself, do your makeup, do your hair, get your nails done, take yourself out to eat, take yourself to, well, I don't know if we can go to the movies right now. Take yourself out on a picnic, which is actually something I want to do as it gets warmer. Take yourself to look at the water, look at the city, wherever your location is. Just pour that love into yourself. That's so important. That's why I keep bringing it up, because it's that important. Pour that love into yourself and you will feel, it'll feel good. It'll feel good, I promise you. Another thing that I actually did recently, I wrote myself a list. I love writing. I love putting notes in my phone. I always use my notes feature. I have a list in here because, you know, women, we are emotional. And there's even times sometimes where I ask myself, did you make the right choice? And I wrote a list and I titled it Before You Digress, because I know that that situation is not for me. And when I wrote this list, I made sure that I wasn't writing it out of bitterness or out of holding someone's fault against them that I know I forgave. But I wrote it down as a reminder of what I overcame, what was done against me. There was no hate when I was writing it. No, oh my God, none of that. I just wrote it down and I read it and I was like, I'm not going back to this. So anytime my mind wants to play tricks or I want to second guess or whatever, I read that list called Before You Digress as a reminder of you are not going back to that.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. Again, not to say there's cases where people work through things, but you know when it's done.
Yeah.
And I have been told that this is done. And when I say I've been told, I'm talking about me and God.
Yeah. Exactly.
That is done. So, I hope that wasn't too heavy.
No, I mean, someone out there needed to hear it.
Someone needed to hear
Yeah.
it. You know, I love helping other women as much as possible. If I can even get through to just one, I feel like I did a good job.
Yeah.
Because as I sit here as a 32-year-old woman, if I could save, especially, oh my God, my 20s. Oh my goodness, there's so many things that I wish I did different. And if I can help just any young lady out there, not that it matters the age, but you know, if someone could have helped me from living my 20s the way I did, then I would be thankful. Long story short, hopefully this gets through to at least somebody.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
I hope it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, especially those, like, most heartbreaking, devastating relationships, like, just have you in your bed just like clenching your stomach. Like I experienced those in my 20s, and if I had somebody pep talking me and support, like, you know, feeding positivity into me, I'll be so much better. But
right.
I learned from them, and I'm such a better woman now. I'm able to still love and be good in the future, you know. So
yeah.
And now,
and I think because, you know, we're in situations where we learn from our mistakes. That's why we want to share and help others. And it's good to be transparent to help others.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest piece to remember, you have to want better for yourself.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. You can't beat positivity into somebody. You have to look in the mirror for yourself and say, I am worth more. If you're in a situation where you need to be doing better.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Anything else?
That's deep. No, I think that's about it. I do want to say, if there's any woman out there that's watching this right now and you are going through the moments, I'm gonna be honest with you, sis. It may feel as though you're never gonna get over this hurt and this pain. You probably feel like what we're saying right now, you probably hear us and it's not resonating right now, but trust and believe, sis, it is going to be okay, and it is going to be better, and you're going to come out of this
stronger
as ever.
Hello.
So just believe that. Okay,
we're living testaments of that.
What?
Okay,
I have some stories, but I'm not gonna get into them right now. We both do. So,
but right now we are sitting here on April 11, 2021. Happy Women.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Hello. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap this on up.
Yes.
I thank you all, and Adrianna thanks you all. We thank you all for watching. We love you all so much. Do not forget to hit that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. Okay, we'd love to hear from you, and connect with us on Instagram. All right, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday. Bye.